Have you asked yourself recently, what would my life look like if I was panting for the Lord more than my phone? What kind of fruit could I bear throughout the day? And how productive can I be? These were the things I was meditating on when I was out working in the yard. Hi, and welcome. My name is April. I like to make videos with Christian encouragement sprinkled throughout it. So in this video, I will have some in the middle and the end of the video throughout my yard makeover. So I hope you enjoy. In this video, I'm going to be tackling this unsafe and unstable looking brick pathway, which are meant to be steps. I added a patch clover and then a gravel walkway that wraps around it. This idea was basically born out of panic. I saw two copperheads in my yard and I thought maybe I should make a gravel pathway, which would be a lot easier to spot a snake on. Let me first show you an example of what I did along the side of my house. This is where we saw our first copperhead. I got a little frantic and decided I better start cleaning up all these leaves and sticks everywhere because I keep thinking these brown sticks are potential snakes. Which do you think would be easier to spot a copperhead? On this nice gray gravel or in the before picture? I like this gray drainage rock because I think it looks nice against the blue house. I added a few cement blocks to just add more room to put the trash cans. This gravel will be a lot easier to leaf blow all the leaves that dump here, and of course help it look a lot cleaner. So this is early spring. Let me show you what it's like by end of June. I mean, it's crazy, the weeds over here, all over the place. I spy two weeds in the gravel. And guess what? It's very easy to pluck them out of the gravel. It didn't take long to pluck out the weeds out of this pathway. I'm making a point to not use any sort of weed killer. I'd rather just spend the 10 minutes it takes to pull it by hand. My goal is to keep the yard toxin or chemical free. There's so many beautiful birds and other wildlife that love being in my yard, and I would love to keep it natural. Well, natural, but not infested with weeds. Okay, we've lived here for 7 years and it's pretty much just a weed yard, front and back. So, time to make things a little bit prettier. I've got quite the variety of weeds to pluck out. And what do you know? I found some dragons in my yard. Some of these weeds can be pretty cute for decorating. Well, after many days and several hours of pulling weeds, I must say, time flew by because there were times I had to be called inside. Hey, Mom, we're hungry. Oh, really? What time is it? Oh, wow. Time sure flies. With all these projects going on through the springtime, I was definitely making some simple and easy meals. Here's the zone for the clover, and just in time, right before the rain came. Gardening was the best way for me to escape to a quiet place for reflection and prayer. Maybe you don't enjoy yard work, but we all have short windows of time throughout the day to recalibrate our heart and refresh our soul through prayer. I'm telling you, this soul can get hangry too, okay? So we need to seek true spiritual food. The psalmist says, "As the deer pants for flowing streams, so pants my soul for you, O God. My soul thirsts for God, for the living God. When shall I come and appear before God? The flesh is always going to choose the dopamine hit from scrolling or the easy escape to entertainment. But we need to be watchful and guardful of our soul and our mind and make sure we're spending time in fellowship with the Lord. I think we all know the signs of a hangry soul. When you're feeling irritable, easily angered, maybe you're dealing with anxious or fearful thoughts, you're exhausted, you feel depleted, maybe you're just at a total burnout and you haven't been in the Word, your soul is starving. So I'm trying to figure out how to fix these wobbly steps. I'm thinking of adding this black border right here, right there, and maybe here, but it's kind of at an angle, just to give it some sort of protection. Like, these are very sturdy. Everything else is just kind of sliding around and wobbly. So we'll see how that turns out. I'm going to use this edging, which is the same thing that I've been using around here. Apparently you can cut these to size, so I'm going to try that with these clippers and we'll see how that turns out. So I line them up, but now I'm noticing this border right here is messed up. So I removed all these and now I'm gonna make a new border right here. I'm gonna see if I can fill in this space better. I don't have any more of these longer ones, and this is attached. I'd rather that be flat. So we'll see, maybe I could take from here if I have to. This was my first attempt. So after doing some rearranging, I finally came out with a layout that I'm happy with. No more weird, huge gaps. Look at that pretty little sneak peek of the clover in the bottom right. I also found another brick to complete the brick border on the right, which wraps around the flower bed. It's finally more secure and safe to walk on, so I'm happy. It still has that exposed broken cement area, but I'm content with how it turned out. Here's another view of the before and after of those wonky steps that I fixed. So I'm really excited at this point to see my vision come to life. You can see where the pathway is going to be wrapping around the patch of clover. I haven't mentioned it yet in this video, but I did in the part 1. Every day when I was working in the backyard, I was having to deal with these tunnels by either voles or chipmunks. I'm not sure, because I saw chipmunks everywhere, but never actually saw a vole. But my neighbors said we have them in our area. So thankfully this was the only spot in the clover, but all along this dirt pathway and sometimes near my ground cover that I had planted. So I'd go stomping around on their tunnels, hoping that if I annoyed them enough, they'd hopefully leave me alone and go to another area of my yard. So either that worked, or maybe the snakes finally got to them in my yard. I don't know, but you can see here's the great start to my pathway around the clover. I used paver's base underneath the pavers as well as on this slope. You can't really tell very well in this video, but it's kind of sloping downward to the right. So I wanted to try to level it out. And the paver's base is made up of kind of like a sand gravel mixture. I topped it all off with this gray drainage rock, the same rock that I used in my front yard and along the side of my house. Sort of becoming a continual theme through my yard. It's like, you have a problem area? Throw some gravel on it. Hey, why not? Next spring, I hope to add a bunch of flowers to my backyard because I like to bring the pollinators back here. This is the only sunny area in my backyard. So if I want any chance at growing any kind of food in my yard, this little spot is it, sadly. We had a beautiful small maple tree right here that unfortunately got demolished by a branch that fell on it. So I'm hoping it looks like it wants to come back. I'm looking forward to hopefully this thing growing back again over the years. This area that I had plucked is sadly starting to grow back. So it's a race against time. I have to pluck out these little weeds popping up again and throw some gravel on it. I had hoped to wrap at least a border of gravel around the edge here to hold back the jungle that wants to take over my yard. Sadly, it got too hot and humid, even with me dousing myself with hose water. It was just unbearable to be back here in July. Between the heat and the mosquitoes, I was done. I had to leave. I had to stay in the house. I used a tamper here to smash down the tunnels, and then the areas that were dirt, I just reseeded. Isn't this such a beautiful carpet of clover? I loved coming out here every day just to look at this beautiful green carpet of clover. And it was so soft to touch. It was such a wonderful time. Springtime was so beautiful. I wish it could stay this way, but maybe it would have if I would have only focused on one yard at a time. I know I made a mistake in trying to tackle 2 yards, the front and the back. My next video will be about the front yard. With gardening, there is so much that can go wrong to ruin all my hard work. But if my only aim was to maintain a picture-perfect look for social media, then I would give up. Instead, I remind myself that it's the process that blesses me. My mind is benefiting from learning a new skill and problem solving along the way. I'm getting dopamine from accomplishing goals instead of passive scrolling. My body is getting exercise and vitamin D from the sun. Most importantly, I have a quiet escape to be with the Lord, to meditate on His goodness and feast on His word, which I have stored up in my heart. I can cast my cares on Him and spend time praying for others in my life who are suffering. Here's Sweetie Belle enjoying the beautiful view outside. I was hanging out with her, enjoying the view from inside in the nice cool air. And I noticed a beautiful butterfly over on my butterfly bush. As you can see, my beautiful clover lawn is no longer a perfect carpet. After about a month of temperatures in the upper 90s and no rain, most of my clover did survive, with only watering about once a week. Once clover is established, it's fine in these conditions. Unfortunately, the weeds crossed over into my clover patch. Up until early July, I was going out every day and maybe spending 5 minutes plucking out weeds so that I was able to achieve that perfect carpet. But once I stayed inside because of the heat, obviously those weeds just start creeping in and overtaking. When we finally got rain and a cooler week, I went out and pulled some of the weeds. You can see the dirt patches are where I pulled the weeds out. So hopefully this fall I can pull the weeds and finish the walkway. I'm hoping that once the gravel pathway is able to wrap all the way around the clover patch, that'll help protect, hopefully, the weeds from coming into it. I know it's going to probably take a year or two to really get this yard under control. There's just weeds everywhere. It's like a jungle. So it'll take time, and I'm realizing that now. Here's a sneak peek of the front yard. This will be part 3 for my yard makeover series. You'll see that there's moss and weeds everywhere, tire marks from a tree service truck that had to go to the side of the house to remove a tree. There were actually 2 different tree companies that crossed through our front yard, one of which destroyed these beautiful flagstone rocks that bordered this natural area off to the left of my house. So you will see in the next video what I end up doing with this flagstone and the yard. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. I have Christian encouragement in all my videos.